The casket is small. Too small. That's the first clear thought that cuts through the fog as they begin lowering my son into the ground, my 9-year-old boy's final resting place. My hands won't stop shaking. I press them against my black dress, lace my fingers together until my knuckles burn white, even shove them deep into my coat pockets. Nothing works. The tears don't stop either. They fall in quiet, endless streams, and I don't even bother wiping them away anymore. My stomach twists with every mechanical click of the pulley lowering the casket, and my knees feel like they might give out at any second. The cemetery worker glances at me gently, waiting for some signal that I'm ready. I'm not. I will never be ready. 8 months ago, the doctors finally gave a name to the thing that had been stealing my son's strength. A rare blood disorder, they said, as if putting a label on it would make it less terrifying. But my son Liam, he took it better than I did. His small face was serious, determined. As the doctor explained the treatments, "Will it hurt?" he asked, his voice steady. "Sometimes," the doctor admitted, "but we'll do everything we can to help you." Liam nodded like he understood everything, and he never complained. Not through months of needles, not through transfusions, not through medications with names I could barely pronounce. Even when fevers left his tiny body trembling under hospital blankets, he would look up at me with those soft brown eyes and whisper, "I'm okay. Mom, don't worry." I believed him because I had to. And now, I stand here alone beside his grave. The emptiness beside me hurts almost as much as losing him. My parents should be here. My sister Vanessa, who always promised she'd never leave me alone. And Talia, my best friend since childhood, the one who held me together through my divorce. None of them came. Not one. My hand moves before I can stop it. I pull out my phone and instantly regret it. Vanessa's social media opens automatically. Photos flood the screen. Her engagement party, happening right now, at the luxurious Silvercrest ballroom. There she is laughing, holding a champagne glass, her diamond ring catching the light. My parents stand beside her, smiling proudly like nothing in the world is wrong. The timestamp says it was posted 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago, while I was standing here listening to a pastor try to summarize my son's life in a few short sentences. "Are you all right?" "Dear," I look up. Mrs. Harper, my elderly neighbor, stands beside me. She's the only person who came for over a year. She brought warm meals when I was too exhausted to cook. She sat with Liam so I could shower or sleep for an hour. She never once treated his illness like a burden. They didn't come. I whisper. My voice barely exists. Not one of them. Memories hit me all at once. Liam's laugh real and bright. Before everything changed, the way it used to burst out of him. Uncontrollable, the way he once told me, at 7 years old, that he wanted to become a doctor so he could fix kids like me and his superhero pajamas. He wore them to every chemo session because superheroes are brave even when they're scared. That boy loved you more than anything in this world. Mrs. Harper says softly. I nod, swallowing hard, because I know. I remember something else too. Dylan, my ex-husband, standing in our kitchen years ago, signing papers. An $850,000 college trust fund for Liam, if anything ever happens. He told me, his voice serious. You're the beneficiary. I trust you to protect what's his. He never imagined those words would matter this soon. A part of me wants to call my parents right now, to scream, to ask them how they could choose a party over their grandson's funeral. But another part of me feels completely numb, like there's nothing left inside me to break. If this story is touching something inside you, take a second to subscribe to the channel. It truly means more than you think. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from right now? What time is it where you are? This story is fictional. Some elements have been enhanced with the help of AI to make it more vivid, but the emotions, those are real, every bit of it. Now, let me take a breath and tell you what really happened. I spent 18 months fighting for my son's life, sleeping in stiff hospital chairs, learning medical terms I never wanted to understand, arguing with doctors when something didn't feel right, refusing to give up, even when everyone else quietly started to, and now there's nothing left to fight for. My phone vibrates in my hand. I almost ignore it, but something makes me look. It's my mother. We need to talk. Bring the trust documents tomorrow. I read the message once, then again, slower this time, like maybe I misunderstood. They didn't come to Liam's funeral, but they have time to talk about his money. Something cold slips into my chest, cutting clean through the grief for the first time today. Something sharp, clear. This isn't normal. I type back with trembling fingers. I'm burying my son today. I'm not discussing paperwork right now. The reply comes almost instantly. Don't be dramatic. Ember. This is important for the whole family. The whole family. The same family that couldn't spare 2 hours to say goodbye to Liam. That's when it hits me. This was never just about grief. This is about the last thing I have left of my son, his future, his dreams, everything he was supposed to become. And suddenly, I see it clearly. I'm alone in this. My parents, my sister Vanessa, even Talia, they're together, coordinated, moving while I was drowning in hospital rooms and sleepless nights. How long have they been planning this? What is it? Dear Mrs. Harper asks softly. I hand her my phone. I watch her expression change as she reads. The warmth in her eyes hardens into something else. Oh no, she murmurs. They can't possibly mean I turn the phone off before she can finish. Whatever they want, it can wait. This moment belongs to Liam. I won't let them take that from me too. Mrs. Harper squeezes my shoulder gently. You're not alone. Ember, I'm right here. The cemetery worker approaches again, hesitant. I'm sorry, he says quietly. We need to finish the service. I look at the casket. It's still there, suspended above the open earth. And suddenly, I can't move. Am I supposed to just walk away? Leave him here? My body refuses. My feet won't take that step. Mrs. Harper steps forward before I can say anything. Please, give her a moment. She's saying goodbye to her boy. The man nods respectfully and steps back. Time stretches. I reach into my coat pocket and pull out Liam's favorite action figure, the one he carried with him through every hospital stay, the one he held onto even when he was too weak to speak. I kneel slowly, my knees sinking into the damp grass. My hand trembles as I place it gently on top of the casket. I'll protect what's yours. I whisper, I promise. For a second, I think I might break completely, but instead, something shifts deep inside me, beneath the grief, beneath the exhaustion. Something small flickers to life. A spark. I don't know what tomorrow will look like. I don't know how this is going to unfold. But I know one thing with absolute certainty. They are not taking my son's legacy. Not without a fight. The next morning arrives gray and heavy, rain tapping softly against the windshield as I drive. Oak Ridge Heights comes into view slowly, the familiar streets feeling colder than I remember. My parents' house stands at the end of the block, pristine and untouched, like nothing in the world has changed, like my son never existed. My grip tightens on the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white as I pull into the driveway. This time, I'm not coming as their daughter. I'm coming as someone ready to finally see the truth. My throat tightens as I step out of the car, seeing them again, after everything, after they chose Vanessa's engagement party over their own grandson's funeral. I walk up the driveway slowly, but before I can even reach the door, it swings open. My father is already standing there. His expression is carefully arranged, that familiar mask of concern he's worn my entire life. But his eyes, they're empty. Ember. He says, "Come in. We've been waiting, waiting, not grieving, not apologizing, waiting." I step inside. The living room doesn't feel like home anymore. It feels like a conference room. Vanessa sits perfectly upright on the cream sofa, her legs crossed neatly, her blonde hair styled like she's about to walk into a photo shoot instead of a family conversation. Talia sits beside her, staring down at her nails like they've suddenly become the most interesting thing in the world. My mother stands near the fireplace, her hand resting lightly on a framed family photo. All of us smiling, frozen in a moment that suddenly feels fake. No one says Liam's name. No one says they're sorry. My father moves first. He walks to the coffee table and picks up a folder, already prepared, already organized. "We need to reassign the trust," he says calmly. "Vanessa will take over as trustee." He slides a document toward me. "Sign here, and here." I don't move. "What are you talking about?" Vanessa exhales softly, like I'm being difficult on purpose. She leans forward, her voice smooth and controlled. "Ember, you're not in a condition to handle that kind of money right now. We're trying to help you." My mother steps closer, her tone dripping with artificial sympathy. "You've always struggled with financial decisions. Remember that boutique idea you had after college? If your father hadn't stepped in." Her voice trails off, but the implication hangs heavy in the air. I look at Talia. For a second. I search her face for something. Anything. A sign that she remembers who I am. She meets my eyes briefly, then looks away. That's all I need to know. We've already spoken with Dylan's attorney. My father continues, tapping the papers. "Given your current mental state, he agrees this is the most responsible solution." The words hit me like a physical blow. My fingers move before I can stop them. Picking up one of the documents. Legal language. Clinical, cold, mental competency evaluation. Another page slips loose. I freeze. Printed research. Trust law. Dates. 14 months ago. 14 months. Back when Liam had just been diagnosed. My voice comes out barely above a whisper. "You've been planning this since he got sick." Silence. While I was sitting beside his hospital bed, while I was begging doctors to try something else, while I was holding his hand through every treatment. "You were figuring out how to take his money if he died." Vanessa lets out an exaggerated sigh, leaning back like I'm exhausting her. You're overreacting again. This is exactly what we're worried about. My father pulls out another document, placing it neatly in front of me. If you refuse to cooperate, we'll file for guardianship. The court will see that your grief has affected your judgment. Something inside me shifts. The full weight of it all crashes down at once. They didn't ignore Liam's illness because they didn't understand. They ignored it because it was convenient, because if he got better, none of this would matter. But if he didn't, they would be ready. My entire reality rearranges itself in seconds. Every memory, every conversation, every dismissal. My mother. Months ago. It's probably just anemia. Ember. You always exaggerate. My father. When I pushed for specialists. These doctors are feeding your anxiety. He just needs rest. Vanessa. When I begged her to visit him. I hate hospitals. They're depressing. Not once. Not once did she come. And now, she's sitting here, trying to take everything he left behind. And he'll be fine anyway. Vanessa's voice echoes in my head from months ago, light and dismissive, as if she had been talking about a cold, not a life-threatening illness. My fingers tighten around the papers in front of me, and that's when I notice something else. A thick sheet, partially hidden beneath the trust documents. I pull it free. It's not legal paperwork. It's a blueprint. Detailed renovation plans. Vanessa's new house. A luxury kitchen remodel worth $200,000. A home theater. A pool with a cascading waterfall feature. My stomach turns. This is what they need the money for. This is what my son's life has been reduced to. You never visited him, I say slowly, my voice steady now, sharpened by something colder than grief. Not once, in 8 months. Vanessa barely reacts. She flips her hair back, irritation flashing across her face. People handle things differently. Ember, she says, some of us just deal with it better. The casual cruelty of it stuns me, but only for a second, because for the first time, I see them clearly, not as the family I kept trying to believe in, but as people who only ever cared when it suited them. People who saw Liam and me as something temporary, something convenient, something disposable. Why now, I ask? My voice is calm, but there's something underneath it now, something they don't recognize. Why are you pushing this so hard right now? Vanessa glances at my parents. A silent exchange passes between them, the same one I've seen my whole life. Decisions made without me. Conversations I was never part of. Finally. She sighs. Fine. You deserve to know. She leans forward slightly. Ethan's company is having some liquidity issues. The wedding might need to be postponed unless we secure additional funds. Of course. My mother shifts beside the fireplace, adjusting her pearl necklace, and the beach property in Seabrook Cove. The market didn't go the way we expected. We're a little overextended. My father steps in quickly, his tone softening into something persuasive. We're not the villains here, Ember. We're a family dealing with financial pressure. Family. The word feels hollow. Talia finally speaks, her voice quiet, almost fragile. My divorce will be finalized next month, she says. Vanessa promised me a position at her fiancé's company. I need this. Ember. I have the twins to think about. I look at her. Really look at her. And for a moment, I don't see monsters. I see scared people, desperate people, people who are willing to sacrifice me to keep their lives intact, their comfort, their image. If you don't cooperate, my father says, and this time the softness is gone. We'll have to take further steps. My mother reaches for my hand, her touch familiar but empty. After everything we've done for you and Liam, I almost laugh. What exactly have they done? Birthday cards with small bills tucked inside, occasional phone calls filled with surface-level concern, never once showing up when it mattered. Don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. My father continues, his voice tightening. You're not thinking clearly. Vanessa glances at her watch, impatient. We need this finalized within 60 days, she says, before the next phase of Ethan's project funding. There it is, the truth. They need the money, Liam's money, my money now, to fix their problems. I stand slowly. My movements feel distant, controlled. I gather the papers, straighten them, and place them neatly back into the folder. I need time to think. I say, I don't wait for permission. I turn and walk toward the door. Ember. My father's voice cuts through the room, sharp, commanding, the way it used to when I was a child. Don't walk away from this. I don't respond. I open the door, and I leave. The sound of it closing behind me is quiet, but final. Outside, the air feels colder, heavier. I sit in my car and grip the steering wheel, then let my forehead fall forward against it. For a moment, everything hits at once. The funeral, the betrayal, the realization that I was never truly part of their world. My phone vibrates in my hand. A message from Mrs. Harper. My phone screen lights up again. A message from Mrs. Harper. How did it go? I'm here if you need to talk. I stare at it for a second, my chest tightening. But before I can type anything back, another call comes through. Unknown number. I hesitate, then answer. Ember. Dear. Martha's voice. Warm, gentle, real. My throat tightens instantly. We just heard about the funeral, she says softly. We're so sorry we couldn't be there. We were overseas. We only found out this morning. George's voice comes through next. Heavier, unsteady. We love that boy so much, and for the first time since yesterday, the grief I hear from someone else feels real. Not rehearsed, not calculated. Real. I know, I whisper, my voice breaking. He loved you both too. We're flying back early, Martha adds. If you need anything at all, we're here for you. When the call ends, I sit there for a moment, staring at nothing, and then something surfaces in my mind. A memory. Dylan, standing in our kitchen years ago, going over paperwork. If you ever have questions about the trust, he said, call Jonathan Pierce. He's the best trust attorney in the state. Jonathan Pierce. The name feels like a lifeline. For the first time today, something shifts. I'm not alone. Mrs. Harper, who stood beside me when no one else did. Dylan's parents, who loved Liam without conditions. And a lawyer, who knows exactly what that trust was meant for. I lift my head slowly. No, I'm not doing this alone. I start the engine, then reach for my phone and scroll through my contacts until I find the number. I press call. Pierce and Associates. A receptionist answers. I need to speak with Mr. Pierce immediately. I say. My voice surprises me. It's steady. It's about the Liam Cole Trust. That same afternoon, I'm sitting in an office that feels like a different world. Polished wood, tall shelves lined with leather-bound books. Everything quiet, controlled, precise. I clutch the folder in my hand so tightly my fingers ache. 2 nights. 2 nights of no sleep. Reading legal terms I barely understand. Trying to figure out how my own family could even attempt what they're doing. The door opens. Jonathan Pierce steps inside. He's older than I expected. Silver hair, glasses resting low on his nose. His presence is calm, but there's something sharp behind his eyes. Mrs. Cole, he says, extending his hand. Please, have a seat. I'm very sorry about your son. Thank you. I manage. I've heard those words so many times this week, but his voice doesn't sound empty. I place the folder on his desk. These are everything I have. I say, about the trust. My ex-husband, Dylan, set it up before he moved overseas. He opens it immediately, scanning the documents with practiced ease, flipping pages, pausing, reading more closely when something catches his attention. The silence stretches. Too long. My family wants me to sign over control. I say finally. They're saying I'm not mentally stable enough to manage it because of my grief. The words feel bitter. They didn't even come to his funeral. Jonathan looks up sharply. They didn't attend. I shake my head. My sister Vanessa had her engagement party. My parents and my former best friend Talia chose to be there instead. He leans back slightly, removing his glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. I remember when Dylan set up this trust. He says slowly. He was very clear about what he wanted. He reaches into a drawer and pulls out a separate file. My breath catches. I wasn't expecting that. Dylan was extremely thorough. He continues, opening it and pulling out a notarized document. He slides it across the desk toward me. This is his statement of intent. My hands tremble as I take it. I recognize the handwriting instantly. Dylan's. This trust is to secure Liam's future. It reads, and if the worst should happen, to provide for Ember, who sacrificed everything for his care. The words blur as tears fill my eyes, even from thousands of miles away. He knew. He prepared for something I couldn't even let myself imagine. There's more, Jonathan says. He turns his monitor toward me. A spreadsheet fills the screen. Call logs, numbers, dates, multiple entries highlighted. Numbers I recognize immediately. My parents' home phone, Vanessa's cell. My stomach drops. They contacted your office, I ask. My voice tightening. Repeatedly. He replies, over the past year, my parents' number, and Vanessa's. I stare at the screen, my voice sharpening. They contacted you about Liam's trust. Not directly, Jonathan says calmly. They asked about trust provisions and beneficiary laws. My assistant flagged the calls after recognizing the names from Dylan's file. They never spoke to me. Something clears inside me. They knew. I whisper. Before Liam died. That's why they planned all of this. Jonathan nods, his expression firm now. Yes. And I want you to understand something clearly. Mrs. Cole, this trust is protected. Dylan built multiple layers to prevent family interference. The funds legally belong to Liam, or to you. I exhale slowly, so they can't take it. Not legally, but they may try other tactics, claiming you're mentally unfit. For example, my mother's cold message at the funeral flashes in my mind, Vanessa's calculated tone, my father pushing papers across the table. I look back at Jonathan, so I don't need to fight them for the money. I say, I need to prove what they're doing. His eyes narrow slightly. Exactly. Do you have any evidence? I unlock my phone and hand it to him. My mother's texts. From the day of the funeral. He reads them carefully, then looks up. This helps more than you realize. Now, we set up a meeting, on your terms, in public. If you believe my parents were right to go after my son's trust fund instead of standing by me at his lowest moment, just comment. That makes perfect sense. But if you feel something about this is deeply wrong, if you think no parent should ever choose money over love, then write greedy parents. I'm really curious, what would you do if you were in my place? 2 days later, I sit at a corner table in Riverside Coffee. A manila envelope rests in front of me. The place is busy, loud enough to keep things controlled, exactly how Jonathan advised. Mrs. Harper waits across the street in her car. Jonathan is on standby. For the first time in weeks, I don't feel alone. They arrive together. Vanessa leads, sunglasses still on like this is some kind of performance. My parents follow. Talia trails behind, avoiding my eyes. They sit without ordering anything. Vanessa reaches for the envelope immediately. So you signed, she says with a small smile. I knew you'd come to your senses. I place my hand firmly over it. Before we talk about anything, why didn't any of you come to Liam's funeral? My mother exhales dramatically. Ember, we've already discussed this. The engagement was planned months ahead. It was your grandson's funeral, I say quietly. We grieved in our own way, my father adds, glancing around as people begin to notice. I open the envelope and slide out the photos. Screenshots. Vanessa's party. Champagne raised. Laughter frozen in time. The timestamp clear. This is how you grieved, I ask. My voice stays calm, but heads are turning now. Vanessa's expression tightens. You're twisting things. That's not fair. I pull out another document, highlighted sections of the trust. No amendments without grant consent. Dylan made it very clear. I say, this money belongs to Liam. Now it belongs to me. My father reaches forward. Let me see that. I pull it back before he can touch it. I've spoken with Jonathan Pierce. He has Dylan's original statement. This trust cannot be changed, transferred, or accessed by anyone but me. Vanessa's composure cracks. You don't deserve that money. She snaps. You'll waste it. Her voice rises. My mother leans toward her. Lower your voice. Why, I ask. Looking straight at Vanessa. Are you afraid people will hear how you tried to take advantage of your grieving sister? How you skipped your nephew's funeral, but want his future? Vanessa stands abruptly. This is ridiculous. We're trying to help you. I don't need your help. I gather the documents calmly, sliding them back into the envelope. I'm not signing anything. My father leans forward, his voice low now. You're making a mistake. Ember, we can make this very difficult for you. You already have. I reply. Then I stand. For my entire life. But not anymore. I walk away. I can feel their eyes on my back, burning into me. Outside. Mrs. Harper is waiting in her car. the window already rolled down. I slide into the passenger seat, and Mrs. Harper looks at me with a quiet, proud smile. You stood up to them. She says, I'm proud of you. My phone rings before I can respond. Jonathan, how did it go? He asks. Do we need to move forward with legal action immediately? I tell him everything. Every word, every reaction, every threat. He listens without interrupting while Mrs. Harper drives us away from the cafe. When I finish, there's a brief pause. You're in a strong position, he says finally. They'll try something else. People like that always do. But you've done something important today. You set boundaries. Boundaries. The word feels unfamiliar, but right. We hang up, and almost immediately, my phone rings again. Martha, we've booked flights. She says before I can even speak, we'll be there as soon as possible. If this goes to court, we'll testify. Dylan trusted you. We know exactly what he wanted. George's voice follows, steady but emotional. You took care of Liam. That's all that matters. We'll stand by you. Thank you, I whisper. And for the first time in weeks, I mean it without breaking. A message comes in next. Mark, a former co-worker who used to visit Liam at the hospital. Angela told me what's going on. Whatever you need. I'm here. I stare at the screen. Then I exhale slowly. The weight in my chest shifts. It doesn't disappear, but it's lighter, because I'm not alone anymore. We pull into Mrs. Harper's driveway, and I sit there for a moment before opening the door. My hand reaches out, touching the photo clipped to my dashboard. Liam's last school picture, before everything changed. His smile is still bright, full of life. First step done. Buddy, I whisper. Mrs. Harper gently squeezes my hand. You did wonderfully today. I nod, staring ahead. But they won't stop. I say quietly, they'll try something bigger. They will. She agrees, and we'll be ready. Her voice is calm, certain. You're not alone anymore. Ember. I take a deep breath, and for the first time, I feel something new rising inside me. Not just grief, not just anger, something stronger. Resolve. They couldn't even say goodbye to my son. They don't get to decide what happens to what he left behind. 3 days later, I sit across from Jonathan again. His desk is covered in documents. So is mine. I lay everything out carefully, my hands steady as I organize each piece into place. The grief is still there. It always will be. But now there's something else alongside it. Clarity, cold, focused, sharp. They're going to file for guardianship, Jonathan says, tapping a legal brief. His tone is certain. They'll try to prove you're mentally unfit. It's their best chance. Jonathan's office smells faintly of leather and old books, the kind of place where battles aren't fought. They're planned. They'll try to prove you're mentally unfit. He says, grief will be their argument. It's their clearest path to the trust. I nod, staring at the timeline spread across the desk. 18 months of Liam's illness. Every appointment, every treatment, every setback, documented in painful detail. Vanessa won't do this directly. I say quietly. She'll use my parents, maybe even Talia. Jonathan glances at me, a flicker of approval in his eyes. That's a sharp assessment. We need to document everything. Every hospital visit you attended, every appointment they didn't. I unlock my phone and pull up my calendar. I have everything. I say, every date, every check-in. My voice tightens slightly. I never missed a single one, not even the day after Dylan left. He makes a note. And your family? I shake my head. 0 visits. Not at diagnosis. Not during the 3 weeks he was in isolation after the transplant failed. The memory hits, sharp and sudden. Machines beeping. Liam too weak to sit up. No one came. I finish softly. Not even at the end. Jonathan leans forward. Good. Document all of it. We don't act yet. We prepare. We anticipate their move. I run my fingers over a stack of hospital bills. Numbers I once didn't understand. Codes I had to learn. Fights with insurance companies I refused to lose. I became Liam's advocate because no one else would. 8 months of treatment, and they never showed up. Not once. This isn't just about proving you're stable, Jonathan says. It's about proving they never cared about Liam. Only the money. The words sting. Because they're true, then that's exactly what we'll prove. I say, over the next hour. We go through everything. Financial records, every payment I made, every decision documented. He brings in a notary to witness my affidavit. Each signature feels like another layer of protection, armor. They'll paint your grief as instability. He warns. We need to get ahead of that. Mrs. Harper kept a journal. I say suddenly. She wrote down everything, every time she helped us. Every day Liam was sick. Jonathan nods. That's excellent. A neutral witness carries weight. I flip open my notebook. I've also contacted Liam's oncologist and his teacher. They're both willing to write statements. Good, he says. And Dylan, I spoke to his parents. They're working with their attorney to document his intentions. The strategy is forming clearly now. Each step, each piece. I installed security cameras at my house. I add, if they try anything, it'll be recorded. Jonathan writes it down. I'm also scheduling an evaluation with Dr. Warner, a psychiatric expert. She'll counter any claims about my mental fitness. I hesitate, then continue. I've been saving screenshots too. Every message where they dismissed Liam's illness. Every time they said I was overreacting. My jaw tightens. They built a pattern, ignoring him, while planning to take what was his. Jonathan's voice lowers. That's powerful evidence, not just for defense, but to expose motive. I look out the window. Autumn leaves drift across the parking lot. Liam loved fall, the colors, the crisp air. Last October. I wheeled him outside just so he could feel it again. Are you all right? Jonathan asks. I blink, pulling myself back. I'm fine, I say. What's next? He begins outlining the next steps. And then my phone vibrates. A message from Mrs. Harper. Just heard from Martha at the hospital. Talia was asking questions about Liam's treatment schedule. Be careful. My stomach drops. They're not stopping. They're digging deeper. I turn my phone toward Jonathan, showing him the message. He reads it carefully, then exhales slowly. They're building a case, he says. Talia knows your schedule, your emotional state during treatment. She has access to details most people wouldn't. My stomach drops. She signed something. I whisper, an affidavit. A formal statement that I was unstable while Liam was sick. Jonathan doesn't answer, but he doesn't need to. The silence confirms everything. She was my best friend, I say quietly. Since third grade, she stood beside me through everything, even my divorce. The betrayal cuts deeper than I expected. Vanessa is recruiting anyone who knows your life closely. Jonathan says, that makes their case more dangerous. They're building it from the inside out. Memories begin to surface, sharper now. Talia visiting less often as Liam got worse. The way she looked at me when I broke down after the doctors told us the treatment wasn't working. The way she avoided my eyes in those final weeks. Like she already knew how this would end. She'll say I was unstable. I murmur. And she won't be entirely wrong. I swallow hard. I did fall apart sometimes. Who wouldn't, for the first time since this all began? Doubt creeps in. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am breaking. I glance down at my hands. They're shaking again. Just like they did at the funeral. Don't, Jonathan says firmly, his voice cutting through my thoughts. I look up. That's exactly what they want. He continues. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to question your own reality. My phone vibrates again. A message from Mrs. Harper. I'm on my way. I found my journals. You need to see these. 30 minutes later. She walks into the office, carrying a stack of worn notebooks. Her posture is calm, steady, but her eyes are fierce, protective. Talia can say whatever she wants, she says, placing the journals firmly on the desk. But I documented everything. She opens one, flipping through pages filled with careful handwriting. Every day you were at the hospital. Every night you stayed awake with him. Every meal I brought because you refused to leave his side. Her voice doesn't waver. She takes my hands in hers, warm and steady. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. Ember. That's what they're trying to do. Something inside me shifts. The shaking begins to fade. I take a slow breath and look at her. Then at Jonathan. Then at the growing stack of evidence in front of me. Truth. Documented line by line. You're right, I say quietly, straightening my shoulders. They're not just attacking me legally. They're attacking who I am. I begin organizing the journals carefully, placing each one into our evidence pile. We prepare for that too, because this is no longer just about defense. It's about proving the truth. Later that evening, I stand in the conference room, holding the final piece, a photograph, Vanessa's engagement party, champagne raised, smiles frozen in celebration. The timestamp is unmistakable, 42 minutes after Liam was buried. I press it onto the board. That's everything, Jonathan says softly. I step back. The wall is no longer just documents. It's a timeline. Medical records showing every appointment I attended. Financial statements proving every decision I made. Witness statements from doctors, neighbors, teachers, and one undeniable truth. 18 months. Not one visit from my family. Will it be enough, I ask? My voice quieter now. Jonathan adjusts his glasses, studying everything. They'll file for guardianship, he says. But we're ready for that. He taps a document, Dylan's parents' statement. This alone weakens their entire case. I run my fingers along the timeline, every night spent in a hospital chair, every decision made under pressure, every moment I chose to fight for my son. I never thought I'd have to prove I was a good mother. I whisper, "You shouldn't have to." Jonathan says gently, "But when people want something badly enough, they'll twist any story to get it." My phone buzzes again. Another message from Mrs. Harper. I read it aloud. 23 neighbors signed the character petition. I close my eyes briefly. A small victory. But it matters. Because over the past week, I've built something stronger than I realized. Not just a legal case, a shield made of truth. Security cameras now monitor my home. Every message saved. Every voicemail recorded. Every post Vanessa made. Subtly questioning my stability. They're trying to paint me as unstable. Trying to rewrite who I am. But this time, I'm not afraid. This time, I'm ready. They're trying to paint me as unstable, I say quietly, staring at Vanessa's latest post. A carefully worded message about supporting loved ones struggling with mental health after loss. Hundreds of comments, prayers, sympathy, praise. Not one mention of the fact that she didn't show up to her nephew's funeral. Jonathan exhales slowly. Classic move. I look at him. They can't win legally. He continues. So they're shaping public opinion first. The phone on his desk rings. He answers, listens, and his expression shifts, darkens. I see. Thank you for telling me. He hangs up and looks directly at me. That was my contact at Northbridge Memorial. Someone requested Liam's full medical records yesterday. My chest tightens. Who, Vanessa? She used an outdated emergency contact authorization. For a second. The room feels unsteady. They'll twist everything, I say, my voice rising. Every moment I questioned a treatment. Every time I broke down, they'll turn it into proof that I'm incompetent. They're getting desperate. Jonathan replies, and this breach shows exactly how far they're willing to go. I grip the edge of the table, grounding myself. What else are they doing? He turns his laptop toward me. Let's find out. His fingers move quickly across the keyboard. Then he stops and rotates the screen. A message. From my former supervisor, Ember. Your sister reached out asking about your emotional stability at work. Is everything okay? Please call me. My stomach twists. They're attacking every part of my life. I say, trying to rewrite everything. Jonathan closes the laptop. We expand our response. This is no longer just about the trust. This is defamation. The word lands heavily. Defamation. I think of Liam, his quiet strength, the way he faced every treatment without complaint. If my 9-year-old son could face something like that, then I can face this. Let them try, I say, my voice steadier now. We have something they don't. Jonathan studies me. What's that? I turn toward the evidence board. The truth. Every appointment, every decision, every sacrifice. It's all here. I continue. They can't erase that. He nods. I'll update everything. We include their actions, their pattern, their intent. By the time night falls, the plan is complete. Every argument anticipated, every response prepared. Everything is ready. Jonathan says, witnesses, evidence, counterclaims. We're covered. I leave his office feeling something I haven't felt in a long time. Control. My phone rings as I drive. Mrs. Harper. I tested the security system again. She says, everything's working perfectly. Thank you, I reply, and I mean it more than I can say. Dylan's parents arrive tomorrow, she adds. They're bringing everything we need. I nod, even though she can't see me. You've done everything you can. Ember, she says. Now we wait. When I pull into my driveway, I sit there for a moment. Something has changed. The grief is still there, but it's no longer suffocating. It's burning, fueling something else. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm angry, and I'm ready. The next morning, the knock comes. Sharp, heavy, final. I open the door. A sheriff stands there, expression neutral, holding out a thick envelope. Ember Cole, he says, you've been served. My fingers tremble as I take it. It feels wrong in my hands. Too heavy for paper. Too light for what it's about to do. He nods once and walks away. And I stand there, frozen in the doorway, holding the beginning of their next move. I spread the documents across my kitchen table, my eyes locking onto the heading, Emergency Petition for Guardianship. My stomach tightens. They're not just coming after Liam's money anymore. They want control of me. My phone rings. Jonathan. They filed. I say quietly, I know. He replies, just got the notice. How are you holding up? I don't answer right away. Instead, I stare at the affidavit. Talia's signature stands out immediately, 3 pages detailing every moment I broke down during Liam's illness, the nights I forgot to eat, the time I cried in the hospital hallway, the morning I couldn't remember if I'd taken my own medication. They twisted everything. I whisper. They even used medical records, things I told doctors in confidence. Jonathan's voice hardens. They never should have had access to those records. That's our advantage. The hospital is already investigating. I turn the page. My financial history. Every overdraft. Every late payment. 18 months without stable income, spent entirely on Liam's care, now presented as proof I'm irresponsible. The hearing is tomorrow. Jonathan says, we knew this was coming. We're ready. But I'm not sure I am. This isn't about money anymore. They're trying to take my autonomy, my dignity, my identity. Have you seen the news, he asks? I open the local site. There they are, my parents, sitting in their perfect living room, faces filled with concern. The headline makes my chest tighten. Family seeks help for grieving mother. My father's quote stands out. We have to protect her from herself. I switch to social media. Vanessa's post. A childhood photo of us. A caption about love, sacrifice, and mental health. The comments overflow with support. People praising her. People who never knew Liam. They've already judged me. I say, the court won't. Jonathan replies, I've filed our counter petition. Dylan's parents are here. They'll testify. The hospital issued a statement about the records breach. I touch the locket at my neck. Liam's photo inside. What if it's not enough? It will be. He says calmly. Mrs. Harper has over 20 neighbors ready to support you. Your former supervisor submitted a statement. Liam's doctor provided an affidavit confirming your care. My phone buzzes. Mrs. Harper, we're ready for tomorrow. The whole block is behind you. Something shifts inside me. They weren't there. Not for chemo. Not for transfusions. Not for the nights his fever spiked and I thought I would lose him. Not once. I also submitted the security footage. Jonathan adds, Your mother and Vanessa trying to enter your home? I remember watching it. Their hands on my door, looking through my windows. We're pushing back fully, he says. Restraining order included. I look at the documents again. They're lies. Stamped. Official. Tomorrow. A judge will decide who I am. Try to rest, Jonathan says, but I can't. Hours later. I'm still reviewing my testimony when my phone lights up. Doorbell alert. 9:48 p.m. I open the app. Vanessa is standing outside. Alone. I take a breath. Activate recording and open the door with the chain still latched. What do you want? She looks softer, concerned. Can I come in? Just to talk? No. Her shoulders drop. Ember, please. This doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be ugly. You made it public. I say, when you accessed Liam's records. Her eyes flick toward the camera. I'm giving you one last chance, she says quietly. Drop the guardianship case. Sign the trust over to me. We'll make everything disappear. My chest tightens. My episodes, she adds. The night you called Talia crying. The time the hospital almost called child services. Her voice stays calm, but her eyes are cold. I'll destroy your reputation, she says. Everyone will know how unstable you are. And suddenly, I feel calm. I think you should leave. Her mask cracks. You don't deserve that money, she snaps. You've always been the burden, the disappointment. She leans closer. We carried you your whole life. Now it's your turn. I close the door. No hesitation. My hands steady. For the first time all day, I call Jonathan and send him the recording. Perfect, he says. That's exactly what we needed. It's past midnight when Mrs. Harper arrives, carrying an overnight bag. I thought you shouldn't be alone tonight, she says gently. Thank you. I whisper. Tomorrow, she says, squeezing my hand. We show them what real strength looks like. My phone lights up with a message from Jonathan. Everything is ready. Dylan believed in you. So do we. I can't sleep. Instead, I sit in Liam's room, holding his favorite stuffed dinosaur. The glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling still shine faintly. I open my locket and look at his smiling face. Tomorrow is for you, I whisper. For your legacy. For the first time since everything began, I feel ready. The next morning, I walk into the courtroom with my head high. Jonathan stands beside me. Mrs. Harper is there. Dylan's parents, too, across the room. My family sits together. Vanessa, my parents, Talia, their faces carefully arranged. The judge enters, her expression stern. These are serious allegations, she says. I expect evidence, not emotion. Their lawyer stands first, confident. This is a family trying to help a grieving woman who is spiraling. He begins. She has shown instability, poor judgment, and refusal to accept support. Each word feels like a blade. Then Talia takes the stand. Ember changed, she says. Avoiding my eyes, she became obsessive. She would call me at night, hysterical. I remember those nights, sitting beside Liam's bed, terrified, reaching out to someone I trusted, now used against me. My mother follows. We're heartbroken, she says, dabbing her eyes. We just want to protect her. The judge watches carefully. For a moment, fear creeps in. Then Jonathan stands. What we're seeing is not concern, he says calmly. It's calculation. He begins dismantling everything. Hospital records, every appointment I attended, every treatment I approved, every night I stayed. Then he calls the hospital administrator. She confirms it. Vanessa accessed Liam's records using an outdated authorization. This was a violation. Whispers fill the room. Vanessa shifts in her seat. Mrs. Harper takes the stand next. I watched Ember care for that boy every single day. She says, she never gave up. Not once. Her words are steady, unshakable. Then Dylan's father speaks. My son trusted Ember completely. He knew she would protect Liam's legacy. Something changes in the judge's expression. Sharper now. More focused. Jonathan steps forward again. One more piece of evidence. The recording plays. Vanessa's voice fills the courtroom. I'll destroy your reputation. Everyone will know how unstable you are. My calm reply follows. I think you should leave. Then her real words. You were always the burden. Gasps ripple through the room. The judge calls a recess. When she returns, Vanessa tries to speak. The judge silences her instantly. Any additional evidence? One final exhibit. Jonathan says, the cafe recording plays. My mother's voice. Once we have guardianship, we can fix Vanessa's mortgage. My father's voice follows. She won't have any say. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Their lawyer has nothing left. The judge leaves briefly. When she returns, her voice is firm. There is no basis for this petition. My breath catches. What I do see, she continues, is a coordinated attempt to exploit a grieving mother. Vanessa starts to protest. Be silent. The judge cuts in. This petition is dismissed with prejudice. My heart pounds. And I am ordering an investigation into perjury. My family freezes. I am also granting a restraining order. You are prohibited from contacting Ember Cole. Final. Decisive. The trust will be secured immediately. Vanessa's composure collapses. My mother begins to cry. My father sits in stunned silence. Then the judge looks at me. You have shown remarkable strength. She says, your son would be proud. Those words settle deep. A bailiff steps between us as my family tries to approach. It's over, Jonathan says quietly. Mrs. Harper squeezes my hand. He'd be so proud. Dylan's parents embrace me. You honored him. Outside. Reporters wait. Cameras flash. This time, I don't walk away. How do you feel? Someone asks. I straighten my shoulders. Justice was done for my son, and for the first time, I believe it. A week later, I sit across from a financial advisor. The trust can fund a long-term program. He explains. I nod, focused. The pediatric blood disorder program must be funded first. I say, that's non-negotiable. He writes it down. Life feels different now, clearer, stronger. The trust isn't just money. It's Liam's legacy, and I will protect it. I never once saw her falter. Mrs. Harper's voice is steady as she finishes her testimony. The courtroom feels different now. Quieter, heavier. Then Dylan's father, Mr. Carter, takes the stand. We were never particularly close, but his voice is firm, certain. My son created that trust with clear instructions. He says, he told me that if anything happened to Liam, Ember would receive everything. She gave up her career, her savings, everything, to care for that boy. There's no one more deserving to protect his legacy. I feel my throat tighten. The judge's expression shifts, sharper now, focused. Jonathan stands. Your Honor, one more piece of evidence. The room darkens slightly as the recording plays. Vanessa's voice fills the silence. I'll destroy your reputation. Everyone will know how unstable you are. My own voice follows, calm and steady. I think you should leave. Then her real words come through. You were always the burden. A ripple moves through the courtroom. Vanessa's face flushes. My mother gasps softly. My father stares straight ahead. The judge calls a recess. When she returns, everything feels different. Any additional evidence, she asks. Jonathan nods. One final exhibit, another recording, our conversation at the cafe, my mother's voice. Once the guardianship is approved, we can fix Vanessa's mortgage. Vanessa's voice follows, and the beach house repairs. Then my father. Once we control the trust, Ember won't have a say. Silence, complete and absolute. Their lawyer shifts uncomfortably, papers rustling. Another short recess, when the judge returns. Her face is set in stone. I have reviewed all evidence. She begins. There is no basis for this guardianship petition. My breath catches. What I do see, she continues, is a coordinated attempt to exploit a grieving mother for financial gain. Vanessa tries to speak. Miss Cole. Remain silent. The judge cuts in sharply. This petition is dismissed with prejudice. It cannot be refiled. My heart pounds, but she isn't finished. I am ordering an investigation into possible perjury by Vanessa Cole, Daniel and Margaret Cole, and Talia Bennett. My family goes still. I am also granting an immediate restraining order. You are prohibited from contacting Ember Cole. A final blow. The trust will be fully secured against further interference. Vanessa's composure breaks completely. My mother begins to cry. My father sits frozen. Then the judge looks at me. Miss Cole, she says, her tone softer now. You have shown remarkable strength. Your son would be proud of how you've protected his legacy. The words settle deep. A bailiff steps between us as my family tries to approach. Jonathan turns to me. It's over, he says quietly. You won. Mrs. Harper's eyes shine with tears. He'd be so proud of you. Dylan's parents embrace me. You honored him, his mother whispers, as I walk out of the courtroom. I touch the locket at my neck. Liam's photo inside, his smile still bright. Outside, reporters wait, cameras flashing. A month ago, I would have walked past. Today, I stop. How do you feel about the decision, someone asks. I lift my head. Justice was done, I say simply. And for the first time, I believe it. A week later, I sit across from a financial advisor. The scholarship program can be structured to preserve the principal. He explains. I nod. The pediatric hematology fellowship must be fully funded. I say, that's not negotiable. He smiles. Taking notes. Life feels different now. Clearer. Stronger. The restraining order is in place. They can't come near me. The news headlines have changed. Mother vindicated in trust battle. Vanessa's engagement is canceled. My parents face investigation. Talia lost her job. Consequences. Finally, when I leave, Mrs. Harper is waiting in her car. All set, she asks. All set, as we drive. I think of all the rides she gave me during Liam's treatment, the quiet support, the kindness. I didn't think I could do this, I admit. She pats my hand gently. I knew you could. The moment you made that promise, that night, I sleep, truly sleep. No machines, no fear, just peace. The next morning, Jonathan calls. The foundation is officially established. The trust is locked. No one can touch it. I close my eyes. Relief washes over me. Neighbors bring meals. Messages of support keep coming. And slowly, I begin to understand something. Family isn't always blood. I hold a photo of Liam at the beach, laughing, free. I know what to do now. I whisper. 6 months later, I stand in a hospital wing, newly renovated, bright colors on the walls. A plaque beside the entrance reads, Liam Cole Memorial Wing. A young nurse approaches me. I'm the first scholarship recipient. She says, "Thank you." I smile. He would have loved that. The foundation grows, helping families like ours, covering costs, providing support, turning loss into something meaningful. I begin speaking to other parents, helping them find strength, because I found mine. A year later, I return to Liam's grave. The air feels different, lighter. I place flowers gently. "Excuse me," a voice says. A woman stands nearby with her daughter. "Your foundation helped save her life," she says softly. The little girl steps forward. "Thank you." I kneel beside her, smiling. "You're welcome." As they leave, I take out Liam's action figure and place it beside his headstone. I kept my promise. I whisper, standing there. I realize something. I'm not alone anymore. Not really. Because the people who stood beside me chose to. And that matters more than anything. The family that matters, I say softly, is the one that stays. If you were in my place, choosing to stand up, protect my child's legacy, and refuse to let anyone take advantage of my pain, then right, you did it right. So I know I wasn't wrong. But if you think I should have given in, sign the papers, avoided conflict, and let my family take control, then write concessions. And if you're still thinking, still weighing what you would do in a moment like that, just write time. I'm really curious, because sometimes the hardest choices reveal who we truly are. This is my story, and perhaps, in some ways, it's also part of yours. If you see yourself in this, don't hesitate to share your story with me. I'll read all the comments. There are moments in life when you don't have the luxury of falling apart, even when your heart is completely shattered. I stood by my son's grave with trembling hands, feeling like my entire world had collapsed. But the most painful part wasn't just losing him. It was realizing that the people I once called family weren't standing beside me in that moment. From the deepest place of loss, I learned something powerful. Real love isn't in words. It's in who shows up when you are at your weakest. I used to think I wasn't strong enough. I doubted myself when they said I was unstable, that I couldn't handle what my son left behind. But then I realized something: if I didn't stand up, no one would do it for me. And the love I had for my son became the greatest strength I never knew I possessed. This story taught me that sometimes The people who hurt us the most are the ones who force us to see our true worth. And in those moments, we discover who our real family is not those who share our blood, but those who choose to stay, to support us quietly through our darkest days. I also learned that protecting what is yours is not selfish. It's respect. Respect for the sacrifices you've made, for the memories of those you love, and for yourself. If you are going through something difficult, if you've ever been misunderstood, abandoned, or underestimated, please remember this. You are not weak. You are simply fighting a battle that others cannot see, and you are far stronger than you think. If this story touched you, stay with me by subscribing to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Don't forget to like and share this video so its message can reach even more people. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next story.
Welcome to Family Confessions. Our stories go beyond entertainment, helping viewers recognize toxic behaviors, understand boundaries, and reflect on their relationships, while reinforcing self-worth and the strength to heal and move forward. Each video follows a structured workflow ensuring quality and value for our audience. Thank you for being here.